Hi there. In one of my last videos, I sort of said this was my final defense on old cameras. However, I guess I wasn't completely finished. Here's what I mean. I recently took a trip to Prince Edward Island to see a play. Uh, because I was going to our beach property, uh, beach property, it's really just a trailer at a trailer park at a beach. However, since I was going there, I figured I'd take my disposable camera, the one that I spoke of in that previous video. However, I found myself with many great photo opportunities when I was in Prince Edward Island, and a camera that had, let us just say, severe limitations compared to my other cameras. This old beast here, first and foremost, the biggest limitation is the fact that basically ISO 800 is the top. 1600 is messy, and that's as high as it'll go anyway. So you try to keep it at 400 or lower. Now, that of course gives you that limitation of not really having the low light capability that you're used to having with cameras that will, well, they'll manage ISO 6400 with an image that, with just a little work, is quite usable. This only goes to 1600. So there you have a limitation. The only lenses I brought with me was my 80-320, which I didn't really use because I was mostly on the street, and an old kit lens, the old 18-55, which has significant vignetting, but is reasonably sharp and actually gave me some pretty excellent results. Now, as you can see in the video, I am showing you the images that were taken with this camera combination on that particular event. So, again, where does that leave me? What point am I really making? The point I'm making is the same one I have been making all along with regards to older cameras. And that is that if you have an older camera, and if you use it carefully, and if you are aware of its limitations, you can still get quite usable pictures. And these pictures here, I think, go beyond just usable. Now, would I have gotten more pictures, or would some of the pictures have been better had I had another camera? Probably. I'm no denying the advantages of having the right equipment. I mean, some people say, why do you have two different camera systems at the same time? And it comes down to, horses for courses. It comes down to which camera best suits the activity I'm taking part in at the time. Which, of course, means that in this particular case, I would have been better off with one of my Olympus cameras for the simple reason that if you are shooting on the street, a small light camera that's reasonably fast and has reasonable high ISO performance will do a much better job than an older, slower, heavier camera like the Pentax. Now, again, in its defense, the autofocus is not bad. It's pretty quick. And the quality of the images in decent light is quite good. I do get a little bit of noise in skies, but not much. Just a little touch of noise reduction fixes the problem. And as an aside, another thing I discovered this past weekend is that I was using the 18-55 at the 18 end almost all the time. I used it at 55 only a few times, and of course steps in the middle when I used it to actually get the precise framing I wanted. And often I found myself wishing for a little wider. So my 14, which I had originally posted as for sale, is now going to find a new home right here, and I'm going to see what I can do just by using this combination right here, forgetting about anything longer than 14. And for those of you who are still locked into the full frame equivalence idea, that means that this is the equivalent of a 21 millimeter. Now, a 21 millimeter, that is pretty wide. That means that you are going to get pretty close to your subjects, and you are going to have to watch out for distortion near the edge of the frame. Near the center, there is no distortion to speak of, but near the edges, it can get pretty radical because, of course, you are talking about a fairly wide field of view. This particular 14 millimeter is well corrected. There is very little distortion. We don't get the barrel distortion you would get from a wide-angle zoom, for instance, other than a high-end one. A simple wide-angle zoom like my 18 to 55 will show significant distortion at 18 millimeters and a lot of vignetting. This, of course, has neither of those. So this little package here is going to see some time. It's going to be taking some images. For instance, a nice establishing shot right here. And hopefully, in the not too distant future, I will be able to report a little more about what's going on with gear like this. Now, one important point about my images, more than anything else, I have been endeavoring to get my composition correct. So when you look at these pictures, please, if you find that there's something that you think could have been improved in a particular image, by all means put it in the comments below. Well, as I've said so many times before, if you like the video, please let me know by clicking like. If you would like to see more of my videos, by all means subscribe. And if you think someone can get something useful out of this particular video, then share it. And on a beautiful day like this, all I can say is bye for now.